Greetings, all. Greetings. Look at that sky. Very few clouds, or it would appear that way. But if you look closely, I should say, you'll see that there are clouds there. There are always clouds in the sky, you know. But during the daytime, if the sun was at its zenith, well, anywhere above where it is right now, you wouldn't see, it wouldn't appear as though there are clouds there. And look at that. Moon is big, huge. Man, that moon looks big. Oh well. New breadfruit. The tree is filled with them. Wow. Normally you see this, you have this view during the daytime. No night view. But it's beautiful nevertheless. Looks like a painting with the ocean and the trees and the clouds meeting the ocean. Oh well. Wow. Looks like the ocean is climbing further into the sky, doesn't it? If you don't know how things work, you can easily be fooled into thinking it's an illusion. But our eyes tend to want to see things in a straight line, either vertical or horizontal. It's only when you get close that you see the curves. Anyway, that's one of the problems we're having now in the economic world, in that what I told you about watching your finances for over the last month. And some shenanigans are going on in the financial system now that it's, unless you've been following this thing for a while, it makes you, if you just wake up one morning and somebody tell you this is what happened, you say no, we can't. But we have an issue now where the world's monetary system, the cracks are getting bigger. I mean, so big that some people can't see it. That's the illusion. You only see it. You only see it when you get so close to it that you're looking over the cliff. You know, it's similar to where we are looking at the ocean. Good evening. And the ocean doesn't look like it's, as we go down the hill, the ocean look like it's going up, getting higher in the sky. It's only when you get to sea level that you look at the ocean and see, man, it's flat. But that's the situation now with the monetary system. What happens in our system is that banks are allowed to, evening, banks are allowed to invest in everything. Instead of you giving them money and they lend it out and make money, the government allow them to create money out of nowhere. The government gives them credit. So they go out with the money that the government gives them. They might buy a house. When I say buy a house, I mean when you take out a loan on your house, the house belongs to the bank. It actually belongs to the government. You may pay off the loan you have against that house, but you know you still own the house. Anyway, the bank goes out and buys house or gold or silver or something. And then they have these people who call themselves investors. It might be your 401k fund. That they will come along and say, you know what? We'll buy a part of your home portfolio ETF that they might name Homes in Gambia or Homes in Barbados or whatever the case might be. They might have 1,000 houses in there, and every month when you pay, they make money. But comes a point when that illusion that you own your house, you lose your job or something, you can't make the payment. What happened? The housing crisis was set off by something like that. They found out that so many people not making the income that can afford that house. And when the cracks started showing, they started papering over what they call the Fed window. Is something that the Federal Reserve would step in and give credit to the banks to cover those loans that are not being paid. So the banks can pay the people who have those ETFs, and it would appear like the system works. But reality is that one day the government runs out of money. In 2006-07, that's what happens. In that time, China saved the world economy, really. But it was the big banks in America that got saved, primarily. Because the big banks in America and a few in England and okay, other parts of the world, you know, were really under stress. No money in some cases. The money that they had in the bank so far was outstripped by what they call collateral, money they have in the bank. they didn't have enough to pay the people. Like me walking into the bank and say I want all my money. If 1,000 people walk in there that day and say I want all my money, they didn't have the money to pay those 1,000 people who normally will go into the bank to get their money. And when that happens, especially with big corporations, with say like Citibank, they do business all over the world now. And if you are a company that imports from China and you got to pay China $5-6 million for your imports, and Citibank don't have the money to pay, the government stepped in, but the government didn't have the money to cover it all. So guess what have to happen? They have to sell China 5-6. Well, nobody really knows. The government claimed they put in 900 billion, but it was far more than that. China stepped up, bought Japan, other people who bought money, but China is the one who saved them. Today, China is not saving anybody in the West. And during the last few months, what happened is that the paper silver, that's the money that people invested in silver, right? They just put this money in something called an ETF, whether it be BlackRock, and that's the big culprit, one of the big culprits, or Morgan Stanley, Citibank. Their ETFs now, they had paper with almost $1 trillion on paper, but not enough silver to cover that trillion that people thought that they had actual silver locked away in a vault. And a few days ago, the US government, the banks went to the US government and said, hey, we got a problem. And the US government dumped a lot of money into the system in case they had to give these people money back. And since the price of silver gone up now, and the people bought, if you bought silver at 40, and the banks now had to buy that silver at 70, because the price of silver jumped up so high that the banks now can't afford to buy back the silver. Good evening, how are you? Yeah, I see it. So the government had to step in and pump money into the system. But guess what now? The people who own the silver are not selling. No, I'm making a video. You don't make no videos, man. Yeah, I do. This one is about what's good. I was going to get this rug. No. It's not the destruction. The financial system has started to fall apart. It's not good. Yeah. So we all have to get this right at some given time. We all will fall. The word. That's him, the same guy who lives at that house. That little house, yeah. Oh. Good evening. All right. But anyway, the silver market now is got a huge problem. All that money that is been put on paper, and people, Mexico. One of the biggest problems that happens is Mexico shut down their silver market, stopped exporting, and people can't figure out why Mexico did it. But then China started holding on to their silver. And then instead of putting it on the market a few days ago, all the businesses in China, I guess the government warned them about what's happening. And they started put, well, it didn't start a few days ago. Actually, about 2 weeks ago. But the actual run on the silver began a few days ago, where the more than one company started taking out. You know, you'll have a company like BYD who uses a lot of silver. The people who make their auto parts need that silver. You know, the Chinese military use a lot of that. So now the companies that make all of these different items that China will export or use in their domestic market, the companies are taking their silver off the market because there's none coming in, so they can't leave it there and say, well, we'll sell this now. Good evening. And then when you know, you get replace that in 2 weeks, it ain't happening. So now China closed the market, not exporting any silver, and you're left with a problem where the US is pumping money into the market for the banks to cover that gap between what they sold the ETFs at and what the price of the silver is now, if you can get it. But what happened is that the game that they played before isn't working. The game that they played before is that they dumped so much money into the market that the price of silver fell. Now, since there's no silver coming onto the market, the price is going up. See, at that time, China was working with the system. Today, China is not working with the system because they declared war against China. Russia is not working with the system. They declared war against Russia. What's left now is the African silver market. And if the Africans want to save them, they're going to have a problem. Because Mexico is a big market. South America really is. Mexico is the biggest south. China is the biggest east. Between the two of them control most of the silver on the market. Mexico closed down silver mines, not selling any more of their silver. China hoarding their silver and keeping it for distribution to their people. So, okay, coming. So, left with this problem where the US is pumping money into the market and the market is still falling apart. So what we're looking at is like, people are saying silver is going to go to $200 an ounce. And if that happens, the US dollar is going to be pretty much toilet paper. The price of gold is going to go up to about 4,000, 5,000. Everything in the market that you have to buy, food, clothing, shelter, is going to double, triple. Depends on where you live. I hope you guys are prepared for all of this. I've been warning you it's going to happen. I'm not trying to scare you, but that's the way the new year started out. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. Hope you've been taking steps long ago. I hope you started taking the steps long ago. Have a great day wherever you are. Hope you enjoyed your holiday if you were celebrating the holiday. Peace.